Hi, good evening, traders. 20th of April 2022. This is a Wednesday evening, 9 minutes past 8 p.m. And we had a bounce back of a day. This is the Nifty near-month future in front of us. 193 points up, a little over 1%. Index manages to scale back above that psychological 17K mark. In fact, a little more than that, closed at 17,162. Not bad. But see, when we get these kind of high ranged bars, it's very obvious that the next day is going to be an inside bar. So that's exactly what we have here on Nifty, and that's probably what you'll find in almost more than 95% of the stocks in today's trade, that it would have stayed within yesterday's high-low range, unless it is a highly trending counter like we saw in Reliance. So the market essentially kind of consolidated, slowed down, and this would be in terms of the chart much more clear if you take a look at the smaller time frame. This is today's trade. These are the 75-minute time frame bars. This is where you closed today, this is where you opened today, and this is within the region you stayed. You neither gave any fireworks or shooting outside yesterday's high of this red bar. No, it did not do that. It stayed within the range. So it's more like a sign of consolidation. Please remember, we're looking over here at the 75-minute time frame. So the short-term trend is very much down. And when the short-term trends are down and any kind of such consolidations, general tendencies, it has chances of opening up on the downside more than extending on the upside. So short-term traders can look opportunities to sell. This is the Nifty. So any move below 17,050 in the Nifty near-month futures is very likely to trigger follow-through sell-off. Is very likely. On the other hand, a move above today's intraday highs, which is around 17,220, 250, you can use 17,050, 17,250 kind of levels. So these are the two levels which are likely to give us some clarity. A move above this high does not necessarily mean that the market is back to a bullish mode. This kind of a move, and if prices takes out today's intraday high, will mean that this short-term consolidation with which it dealt into today's trade has some little more grounds to cover on the upside. It's not going to turn the trend on the or reverse the trend on the upside per se. So I would say any kind of break below 17,050 would definitely trigger some weakness for the Nifty going forward. And see, it was a surprise sell-off yesterday. There's no doubt about it from its intraday high. So the index needs to scale above yesterday's high to show some strength, that yes, there is some strength left and I want to scale further highs. Unless that happens, I think it makes sense to stay cautiously bullish, and if you get opportunities to short from a short-term point of view, you can do that also. I say cautiously bullish because there are still opportunities in the market. We see Tata Motors, Reliance, Maruti. Reliance particularly gave a phenomenal 3% move 2 days back to back. It was very good. So there are still opportunities on the long side. It's not like all hopes are lost and most of the stocks are not showing momentum movements. We are getting on both the sides of the market. For today, I'll quickly wrap up the Nifty, Bank Nifty, and take a call on one of the large cap banking stocks, and I want to spend some time on that. So Nifty, I would say for tomorrow, 17,050 and 17,250, that's the kind of levels that you should look for. And I would go for 17,050 kind of a break, which is likely. Let's see how it plays out. For the Bank Nifty, the index stayed clearly range bound in today's trade, staying completely within yesterday's last wide red bar. And so in this case also, the levels are essentially this bar's low and this bar's high. If this low is breached, then the possibility of some degree of follow-through selling is likely, is very much likely, and we can experience that. Not to forget the fact that Bank Nifty is approaching a zone where it had seen some decent amount of volumes. The point of control lies here. So psychological 36K definitely will try and act some source of support. So we'll see whether that kicks in or not. But from an intraday short-term perspective, break below these lows, today's low would very likely trigger some fresh weakness. And if that happens for Bank Nifty, particularly Bank Nifty, then I feel that it is worthwhile to take a look at State Bank of India. Now, the daily chart of State Bank of India is fine. There is no problem apart from the fact that it has clearly established resistances in this zone. Very, very clear levels. And that's around 522, 525 kind of zone in the futures market. There's no doubt about it. And this is very well established by the stock, wherein these highs kinds of corroborates with these highs from where we had this sell-off. These highs also matches with these lows. So this 520, 525 is a very important level. In case we have a slip below today's low for the Bank Nifty, and do remember that the Bank Nifty for most part of today's trade was one of the most underperforming sector. In fact, if you take a look at the sectoral behavior, top over here, Nifty, Bank Nifty, you can clearly see the difference, the spread between the outperformance from the Nifty vis-a-vis Bank Nifty, hugely underperforming the market. And so if we see a break below today's low tomorrow from the Bank Nifty, and that might very well corroborate with a break of today's low from State Bank, then I think that we should, brace ourselves for a short-term weakness in the stock. This would be, this behavior is very likely to be clearer from the 75-minute time frame. We are essentially in that case looking for this breakdown of a very strong support. There's a short-term intraday support kind of a zone. In fact, it held well over here also. So this is a very important make or break zone for State Bank. So we would like to keep a closer look at State Bank of India in tomorrow's trade if we see any kind of weakness. I would strongly suggest, irrespective of your view is bullish or bearish, I would strongly suggest and request to be a little careful and cautious. I was calling for the rise of volatility if 17,400 is given away, and I think that's exactly what we are dealing with, and I think we will be dealing with again going forward for the rest of this week's trade. As we record this video, global markets 30 points up, SGX Nifty, that's not bad. US markets flattish, Nasdaq is down, so probably IT stocks US are a bit under pressure. On the other hand, the S&P and Dow Jones are fairly positive. Dow Jones Industrial in fact is up close to 1%, where S&P is flat, little 0.5%. Crude after that sharp fall is consolidating, and gold after that sharp fall is also consolidating with minor gains and losses respectively. And so SGX is 38 points positive, doing okay. We'll see what are the cues tomorrow morning, and accordingly we'll take a call which way of the market we would like to place our trades. For the Nifty, we have calculated the level 17,050 on the downside and 17,250 on the upside. I hope you have a good trading session tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, trade well and trade wise.